For years, the story of Meghan Markle has been neat and polished. It's the kind of story that feels safe. A young girl grows up in Los Angeles, graduates from a private high school, goes to college, becomes an actress, and one day marries a prince. Every step looks clean. Every year makes sense. But the first crack didn't come from a journalist or a headline. It came from someone much closer. Samantha Markle, Meghan's estranged sister, made a claim that stopped people cold. She said Meghan had been married before, not before fame, not during her acting career, but years earlier as a teenager. Even more shocking, Samantha claimed there was a child. At first, it sounded impossible, too extreme, too dramatic. People brushed it off as bitterness or family conflict. After all, extraordinary claims need extraordinary proof. And Samantha didn't arrive with documents in hand. She arrived with a statement. But here's the part people missed. Samantha didn't invent a new timeline. She pointed to a missing one. Her words didn't create chaos. They exposed a quiet gap that already existed. A year no one could fully explain. Once that idea settled in, the question changed. It was no longer why would she say this? It became why does the timeline allow it? And that's when people started looking at the year that had never been examined too closely before. June 1994 is clear. Meghan graduates from Immaculate Heart High School in Los Angeles. That part is documented. Her classmates move on to college, jobs, or travel. Meghan's official story says she did the same, just slower. She claimed she took a gap year before enrolling at Northwestern University in the fall of 1995. But when people looked for proof of that gap year, nothing showed up. No travel photos, no exchange programs, no host families, no school records, no stories from friends about adventures or studies abroad, just silence. A full 12 months with no footprint. That alone doesn't prove anything, but it does raise a question. Because this gap year lines up perfectly with the claims Samantha made. The alleged marriage, the alleged pregnancy, events that would require time, privacy, and distance from public view. It wasn't just a year off. It was a year missing. And missing years don't stay quiet forever. They wait, they sit, and eventually they ask to be explained. In the summer of 1994, while her classmates were planning college and vacations, Meghan Markle was allegedly somewhere no one expected. Not overseas, not on a self-discovery trip, but in Las Vegas. Not the loud Vegas, not the flashing lights and packed wedding chapels filled with tourists. This was a small, nearly invisible chapel just off the main strip, the kind of place people go when they don't want to be seen. According to people connected to the Giuliano family, Meghan walked in at 18 years old and stood beside Joe Giuliano, a teenage friend. There were no classmates, no cameras, just two relatives acting as witnesses. The ceremony took less than half an hour. And, just like that, it was done. No celebration, no photos, no announcement. Meghan Markle was legally married. What makes this moment unsettling isn't drama, it's how quiet it was. Vegas weddings usually leave paper trails, but this one didn't. At least not one the public can see because months later the record vanished. And that silence would only grow louder with time. To understand why this marriage disappeared, you have to understand the family involved. The Giulianos weren't chasing attention. They were the opposite. A traditional Italian-American family based in Chicago, private, protective, loyal. They believed in early marriage, in keeping family matters inside the family, in handling problems quietly without outsiders watching. To them, marriage wasn't a phase, it was a commitment that mattered because Meghan's life was already moving in another direction. She talked about college, acting, a future in the public eye, visibility, opportunity. The Giulianos wanted stability and privacy. Meghan wanted forward motion. There was no public fight, no loud disagreement, just two very different paths pulling in opposite directions. And that tension stayed contained until something entered the picture that couldn't be ignored or undone. Something that would force a permanent decision. Only a few months after the Vegas wedding, Meghan's life reportedly changed again. According to those close to the Giuliano family, she discovered she was pregnant. At 18 years old, barely out of high school, she was facing a future that suddenly narrowed. Acting dreams don't wait. College schedules don't pause easily, and motherhood would rewrite everything she thought her life would be. By mid-1995, a baby girl was allegedly born, but the child didn't enter Meghan's public life. Instead, she became part of an agreement. The Giuliano family stepped in and offered to raise her themselves. No adoption papers, no custody battles, no official record connecting the child to Meghan Markle. On paper, the baby didn't exist. Inside the Giuliano home, she was very real, loved, raised, protected, but from the outside world, she was invisible. And with that decision, a quiet line was drawn between the life Meghan was leaving and the one she was about to claim. The end of Meghan's first marriage didn't come with a divorce. There were no arguments in court, no public records to flip through. Instead, it ended with something far quieter and far more final: an annulment. Annulments don't just end a marriage. They say it never truly existed. And this one carried an unusual detail. The paperwork was sealed almost immediately, locked away, no explanation attached, no public access granted. When questions were later raised, Clark County officials refused to confirm or deny whether the records even existed. That silence matters. Thousands of Vegas marriages happen every year, and most annulments remain public. This one didn't. If the marriage was just a teenage mistake, there would be no reason to bury it. But sealing records does something important. It removes the past from reach. It protects the future. And behind that sealed file, something else was decided. Not just how to end a marriage, but how to erase a chapter. With the annulment filed, a quiet agreement followed. It wasn't written down for the world to see, but its terms were clear. Meghan would be free to move in, college acting, a new life with no visible baggage. In return, the Giuliano family would raise the child as their own. There would be no interviews, no public acknowledgement, no connection ever between Meghan Markle and the little girl being raised in Chicago. Silence was the price. The family kept it. Neighbors saw the child at gatherings, but she was introduced as a relative's daughter. Her name never appeared in announcements. No paperwork tied her back to her birth mother. The agreement worked because everyone involved honored it for years, then decades. It wasn't just about protecting reputations. It was about ensuring the past stayed exactly where it was, out of sight, out of reach, and officially non-existent. In the fall of 1995, Meghan Markle enrolled at Northwestern University. From the outside, it looked like a fresh start. New friends, theater programs, a future carefully built from that moment forward.